Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us again on this beautiful day for another episode of our Co-Creating Consciously Collectively series. This week is episode 5, Living in Divine Service, with my dear spiritual brother Matthew Matinzi. And before I introduce Matthew in, I would just like to make you all aware that with each guest that comes on and is here with us, that chooses and is willing to come on and show up and shine their light, I would just like to say that every single one has a gift that they have to offer and a message to give. And with each of these, we all receive a specific healing from each individual person. And as us three gather here together, within Trinity Energies, you all are receiving that as well. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that. And Matthew, is there anything you'd like to say, introduce yourself and share with us before we get started?
Well, I'm just thankful that Anastasia's doing this and getting everybody's little piece of their information and their individual walk and journey, and showing us the way that they take and their example and living by example. So I'm hoping we all learn a little bit from this too. I'm open to learning tonight, even though I'm a guest here. So yeah, this is a great thing, and thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So much love to you. Beautiful Matthew, my beautiful Maddie. You have the most beautiful, divine, serene energy that is such a gift to those of us that know you personally. And what came through when we were talking about coming in for you was living in divine service 24/7. And that will flower up and out as us three share our energies. And as Chris shared that this morning, thank you everybody for coming and joining us, because Masters, I welcome you to a New Earth Pioneer energy right here and now live, linking our spirit through our soul, in our emotions, in our human being embodiment. And we three here have chosen to come from behind the scenes, and it has come with anxiety and nervousness and fears. This is not a walk in the park when you've been hiding your energy for eons and lifetimes and ancient times to show up in this planet and this day and age with everything that's happening on the earth is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank you for joining us, everybody that's here. And feel a big golden energy coming up through the center of your core, up from your feet now, releasing and cleansing. We're just bringing a beautiful divine cleansing golden column of energy up. Use your imagination. This is part of, we need to be free to be me, don't we, boys? How spoiled am I, everybody, to have these two amazing masculine energies with me today? Oh, be still, my goddesses beating hearts. It's just, what a gift, because it's rare to have such beautiful, humble, loving, gentle, yet masculine male souls together in one space. And to be holding space with you both is an honor for me as well.
Likewise, sister.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
Before we bring through a bit more sharing with you, Maddie, as Chris said at the beginning, part of these co-creating conscious collective energies here is to open your conscious awareness. This is also a Trinity divine healing. Visualize a golden fleur de lis for yourself. And once you hear that and know that, you can uptake this for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you and I have gone through has not been for nothing. Through you and us, we are clearing old pathways and making changes for a new earth energy vibration. Matthew, I can feel your energy tuning in more. I'm feeling your energy coming through to bring this energy to our planet and humanity, and most importantly, to embody this through us. We need to feel to do so. And with many soul and lifetime traumas, let alone in this lifetime, it is a most challenging undertaking. It is a process. Matthew, can you recall, it's okay if you don't, what you said just before we came on camera, and I said, hold those beautiful words. You said it needs to, can you remember? Flow.
Yes, when something is part of your life journey, or something similar, something that you're supposed to experience, generally I find that it usually will end up just falling into place for that situation to occur without much work of your own, and it just ends up falling in your lap, so to speak, and presents itself without much effort.
And how's that happen for you? Because what we're bringing through live different here today, embodying and co-creating together consciously, is all the words have been said. So anyone can come on and say those words, can't they, Maddie? And that's why these amazing videos every 2 weeks, how exciting. We're going to have more people on. And I'm how exciting you're here in this now moment. Maddie is part of this for a new platform for our new earth energies coming here together. Thank you for being brave enough to come on again. I am coming in here to thank you for that. Big shift.
Sure, no problem.
Can you, does anything come to you instantly? It's okay if not, where that has happened for you when you've surrendered and let go, because anyone can say that. And at the moment, the energies are practice what you preach, what you're telling others. Really, when people are talking, I see straight away, is that in your life? No, well, I move on. So we're really down to that nitty gritty, isn't it, guys? I can see Chris, what do you want to share with that? I've just asked Maddie. Chris, what do you want to share with that? I can feel your energy tuning in as well.
That is very big, and especially now with our ascension and with the new earth energies, it really is. And people could speak the most beautiful words, but now for those that are in tune and conscious, you'll feel the difference energetically and who's preaching what they practicing what they preach, and others who are not.
That's right. Yeah, it's quite a journey, and it feels as if your pathway is guided in some sense especially when you're on the right path. There's no obstacles, less resistance, and you kind of following that voice inside that's guiding you, guiding your heart. And it's just dependent on our own free will as to which one we want to follow.
Hello.
That's the
There
key.
it is. Yeah. There it is. Being free to be me. Boom, Maddie. You shared with me some things that in high school. Now, did you feel something different, a calling, or could you say, did you feel, because I sort of knew as a little girl that there was I could feel something. I knew I was part of something. What did you feel younger? Can you recall what you felt younger with that energy within you, that you have that? I call it that you have a preacher's energy. I do. You just have that, you have that presence. You have that amazing. Yeah, Chris, you can relate. What do you, what's another way to describe Maddie's energy?
It's hard to put one because you hear so much with that label or whatever, but honestly it is because just the way that Maddie comes across. I mean, as people will find out throughout the show, it's like, yeah, he has just they say I'm calming and grounding, well, Maddie's Maddie's right there too. Not a little bit more.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. No, it's so you shared with me that while working at your job in high school. So it's interesting, this story stuck out, delivering meals to patients in the hospital. Do you want to share a little bit about that with us and what?
Yeah, and like I said, this was one of those situations that I couldn't have dreamed up or even made up. It was just something that happened. I was filling in for someone who was on vacation that day. I went into work, and it was a day shift, and I was accustomed to working the evening shift, which was just bring the dinners, they finish, you pick them up, and you go back to the kitchen. So it was just basically delivering everything and then returning it. So you get a lot of steps in. I wish I had a step counter back then. But at any rate, doing the day shift, you do the breakfast and the lunch. So you did it twice, and it was different patterns involved and other things that went into that. Well, this specific day, there was a storm, a thunderstorm that happened. And I went to get the patients. I believe it was, I don't remember if it was, I think it was lunchtime. It was after lunchtime, and people weren't finished yet. So I went out, and just as I left to wait a few minutes, the storm started. So I went out to this big window. It was a hallway full of glass windows, and it's situated on the top of a hill, and you can see about 5 or 6 miles away.
Wow.
Off in the distance to the next hill. And in between, in the valley area in between, there's an old church down there. And the church steeple got struck by lightning during the storm. It was in the summertime. So we had this big thunderstorm, and it was rolling towards the hospital direction. So that church steeple was about probably a mile, mile and a half away. And shortly after, it came up, and it struck I found out later, it struck the hospital, struck the roof, and it took out the air conditioning on a hot and humid summer day. So that wasn't good. So they ended up calling in all of the engineer guys, HVAC guys. They had to come in on their off day, and they were running all around up and down to the roof. So in the meantime, I went back and check on the patients again. And I walked into this one lady's room. I'll never forget it. And she was very scared, and she was looking out the window in her room, and she wasn't too happy with what was going on with the storm. So she came over, and I went up to ask her if she was finished, and she says, "Oh yes, but you have to stay here with me." And she grabbed my hand, and she wouldn't let it go. And she was just laying there in the bed. And then the nurse happened to walk in, who I knew pretty well. I think her name was Hilda. And she came in, and she goes, "Oh, Matthew, you're making her day." And I said, "Well, I'm not going anywhere. She won't let me go." She says, "That's fine. Stay as long as you need to." So we stayed just for a couple minutes before I left. And then I went on my way and did my thing. Well, I went back to work. I think it was the next day. And I find out that the lady isn't there. And most of the time they'll end up moving to a nursing home or something like that. So I happened to ask the same nurse that I had seen in the prior day, "What happened to the lady in this room?" She goes, "Oh, she passed away last night." And I just thought, it just hit me hard. And I said, "Oh man, it felt like I was supposed to do that. Just go in and talk with her and meet with her." So it's just something unique, it's different. It feels like you're in the right place at the right time kind of situation, like it was meant to be.
Because you felt you were in the flow, you were giving, you were in that, as a teenager going into and doing what you did. That's the last thing I was doing when I was a teenager. So, that's a credit to you that you were going and doing that sort of stuff, and that you felt it and that you knew. And just being you, your Christ consciousness, energy and light. And you also shared with me, you felt part of a higher collective. You felt a higher connection with that beautiful soul.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like not necessarily an outcast in school, but I felt very different than everybody else around me. Almost like I didn't belong, in the sense of
Yes, I do know personally
feeling
for me
separate.
what that was. Chris, can you relate to that personally? You guys, everyone watching, I know so many of you. Yes, we each felt, each one of us in that bubble of that uniqueness. And okay, there's a big shift happening. It's that I keep getting you shared with me that you were speaking with your parents on the phone, and they said they all felt a divine protection in several circumstances. If we all take a moment and slow down and have a reflect, because living in divine service 24/7 is many things. One of them, I will say, is really slowing down. Can you give me one, Maddie? We'll just, because it's many things, living in divine service 24/7, slowing down, because you slow down in that moment to appreciate that instant because you felt it. What's another brief, what is living in divine service 24/7? Give me another one, what that means, what that can mean in an aspect of that. One.
Well, as far as a divine protection thing,
That's what's come. Yeah.
this is another thing that has to do with lightning at a different time. We lived across the street from that hospital, and the main branch of this, when I was probably about 12 or 13 years old, we came home from an outdoor pool because the storm was coming. We could hear it. They were shutting the pool down because it was outdoors. So we came home. The storm went over, it blew through. Everybody thought it was done. We were having dinner. And then this random cloudburst happened out of nowhere, and no warning, no rain prior. It just went boom. And there was an instant flash and bang at the same time. We didn't know where it hit. We thought it hit the house.
Now, if
So-
anybody's asking, talking about engineering and cloud, just stay out of those energies and stick with what Maddie is sharing personally. Let's not bring any of the outside world energies about engineering stuff and any outside stuff, Maddie. Thank you for letting me share that, because what people can do is I see in comments sometimes people go, oh, then they're doing this cloud genetic and engineering. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, but the more focus that people put on the outside of those energies, it's distracting us from this very precious moment with Maddie sharing this heartfelt story. So I'm asking everyone collectively to bring through your heart. Thank you, Maddie, for being that vessel in your sharing, because you know how I work with energies. When I just come in, Maddie knows to pause, allow me to bring through the energies, and he will continue. Silver and gold circle, masculine, feminine, is the energy to see coming through right now, through your solar plexus heart, higher heart, up, out through your head, back through in your solar plexus. It's like a round silver and gold wheel. It's bringing divine masculine, feminine from our solar plexus all the way up, because we've recently been through, and we are currently still going through a higher heart consciousness universal upgrade, everybody, right now. And as Chris said at the beginning, these are more than just having a guest on, somebody sharing. It's also bringing through the energies of the planet currently, and this will be every fortnight that we three and others are choosing to come and gift our energies to triple this energy divine healing, and feel the burst out of your crown just then. White light coming up through the crown, pouring up and out. Maddie, can you remember where you're up to with sharing, darling?
Oh yeah. Then anyways, we found out where the lightning hit, and it was outside the house, but the main branch hit the hospital across the street, and we didn't realize that until later. But we were very lucky. It was a 3 foot, 2 to 3 feet or so away from our home in the
Oh
backyard,
gosh, that's
where it
close.
hit. And it looked like a root had been pulled up out of the ground. It hit the base of a tree, and
Yeah.
it went all the way across and around the corner of the house and across the yard.
Extraordinary.
And when we went outside, we had a pet rabbit, and it was in the middle of the yard, and its home was flipped over and upside down because it got struck, the base of it did. And then we found splinters of it from the backyard, blew over the house, and we're in the driveway in the front yard. And my dad had to run out in the downpour to grab the bunny, because it was black. It was a black rabbit, and his eyes were white because it was bugging out of its head. He was so scared.
Oh, the poor darling.
So then after that, everything calmed down a few minutes later, and we went outside to check on everything. And that's when we found out what happened.
Yeah.
And when we turned around with the neighbor, and he was asking if everybody was okay, and we looked back at the house, and there's a dove cooing on the top of the house. Couldn't have timed it better. We were all outside and we saw it.
And as I often say, can't make this up.
No.
And those blessings, living in divine service 24/7, being in that flow, is also, from what you just shared with that beautiful story, is being aware
Mhm.
and consciously
Exactly.
being aware. is
felt a
ultra.
calming and soothing feeling come over you after seeing that. All of us did. My
Did you?
dad and everybody, yeah. Like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, because ultimately it is. Chris, would you like to share, darling?
Yeah, that was amazing, Matthew. And that really does go to show, how protected we are, and that's one of the things that, and even now, with the new ascension, it's like building that trust, because we really truly are always protected and looked after, and I can even just say that over these last 2 years. And it's just incredible to, to hear those experiences and to realize, that here in the human, that is the truth of the matter,
And as you're speaking, Chris, did you want to share any more or do you want to keep going with the healing?
No, go ahead, Anastasia.
I'm feeling this mass collective consciousness grief, this big ball. So what I see is use that imagination and it's like a big ball of black, smoky, thready energies. And it's just this huge big ball. And we can feel it coming out of our solar plexus, our tummy, and also out of our heart. And purge your heart and your solar plexus into this ball right now, because we are feeling grief of the collective consciousness right now, releasing. And you can pour all your problems, all your troubles, all those energies out of your heart space right now into this area, because it's going to be released as I bring my hands up. And as I'm still doing this in spirit, you also wrote, Maddie, that so while living in service, we are shielded and protected to fulfill our missions on earth. And it is about the faith and the trust, and it's flipping the fear. Everything around us is programmed for fear and control. And it is a gentle process of coming home to ourselves, to retrust ourselves. You wrote, Maddie, following your heart by feeling into life situations will guide you into living in divine service. I really like that, Maddie. I'm still going with this dark ball. And as I move this up and out, I'm inviting you to share a bit more, Maddie. I love this. Following your heart by feeling into life situations will guide you into living in divine service. Can you share a bit more what you feel about this? Because you said, I believe I would feel an emptiness, a lost without this support from yourself and spirit. So following your heart by feeling into life situations will guide you into living in divine service. Can you share a bit more about that? That's beautiful. Oh.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a learned teaching, but I felt it for a long time and I couldn't really put words to it until I heard you say about instead of thinking with your mind, feel with your heart. And that's really a good description. And so that's where I kind of came up with those phrases as a result of that teaching. And it just makes sense. It resonates fully after what I've experienced. It's kind of like the feeling when you meet somebody for the very first time and you get that gut feeling as to whether or not you can trust the person or not. And, for years, I always wanted to give somebody the benefit of the doubt because I didn't know them. If it was the first time I met them and I got the feeling like some sort of a repelling or pushing away kind of feeling, and I would just go through it and ignore it, if you will, push it aside. And it's like a fire alarm. If you ignore it, then, you're responsible for your own choices, I guess, at that point. But we never know what's going to happen, and that's kind of like a heads up to say, hey, this is the situation, take it or leave it, in those circumstances.
Wow. Chris, do you want to share anything then?
Yeah, sure. What I'm getting, Anastasia, is what I see, a lot of the time in the outside world, especially like at work. is people are in the mind so much and they're caught up in their life and what they need to do and what they're trying to do. And so they're almost in a rush type of state of living, you know. And when you're in that state, I feel like you're gonna miss so much because it's like sometimes you could even walk past a person in the hallway and it's almost like they don't even see you. But when you're feeling through the heart, that's when the true magic happens because it's like you're aware to these things. So like when somebody needs help and somebody would have missed them or not seen them, there it is. You feel it. You feel the pull to them. You feel themselves within you. Even like for me, that empathy, and from there, you know, you live in divine service and answering that call in whatever way, you know, is brought up for you in whatever instance is what I feel.
Mm, absolutely. And a few
That's
images
good.
came as you were talking was those of us that live with our hearts on our sleeves, with living in divine service 24/7 comes another side to this. It's interesting. This is what's coming through to reveal the shadow side of this.
Mhm.
The shadow side of this is the overgiving, is the wanting to help everybody so much, is that many of us, deep sensitive empaths. Maddie, is anything coming through for you with me sharing that just then?
Oh yeah, like one of the things that my parents had always brought us up with was always refusing when somebody wants to give you money for something for helping them out. And it was just the way I grew up that was the right thing to do. So so many times we'd go and help somebody out and wouldn't accept anything, and you know, it felt good. It did feel good. And sometimes it depended on the situation, but yeah, we always had that volunteer aspect as well, growing up and helping people out, helping neighbors out. My grandparents lived next door growing up, so we'd go over and help them out with yard work and
Oh,
things like that a
very,
lot.
very much. We got brought up very similar. Chris, you probably did too. However, today things have changed a bit more that we need to be a bit more aware with our
Right.
precious energies. That
Mhm.
one of the biggest thing I see, if you allow me to share this, Maddie, with all of that, is the biggest thing I see with masters at the moment is a lot of us come from different eras. So we're applying that old template of being like that. And now we're living, Chris, you're grinning, we're living, we're living in a world where there's an old third dimensional energy and a new fifth dimensional energy. And we're in this month of March where they're actually two realities in one. As you said, we can go somewhere and people are not feeling us in that reality. So we've got to remember, with all of this living in divine service 24/7, the first person you take care of is you.
Mhm.
Within that always giving and helping, it's as guided. And another thing
Right.
with is also, masters, is to allow yourselves to receive. And if somebody wants to bless you, and Manny, when you were talking, my attention was brought to just yesterday. I had an incident with a lady. I was leaving a bank, an ATM teller machine, taking out, I'm not sure what you call it over in the States. So that's
Yeah,
why I
ATM.
got to check the words a bit different. Yeah. And I dropped two $50 notes. Now, whenever do I just randomly drop two $50 notes out of my wallet? So this lovely lady, so there's a big healing coming through everybody with this to clear old abundance blocks. So just take a moment as I'm storytelling. There's new energies coming through with this. Feel this coming up through ourselves. Maddie, I can see it coming up through your column, and Chris as well. It's coming up through all your energy centers. So what happened was, because Chris, I'm getting to ask you to share a message about living in divine service for you. This is mine. I've got thousands because I've over 18 years of living in Christ consciousness energies every day. Every time you go out, there's always a mission and role. Everybody we interact with living in divine service 24/7 is for a purpose and a reason, a divine healing gift. Just sit with that one, everybody. So when the lady picked up, she had a mask on. Our masks were just, I haven't worn one for 2 years. We just had the masks off last night, the mandates at 6 p.m. And she gave me the 250s. I went, oh my goodness. Oh my God, thank you so much. Because I was around the corner. I said, others would not have walked by. Thank you. And I reached and gave her a hug. And Michael was saying, you're hugging someone that's masked. You know, he's reminding me because they're in those energies. But I just did it anyway. And as she was walking off, Spirit very clearly said, offer her 50. Offer the half of that. very, very strongly came through. And I said to Michael, I'm really getting strongly to, and he didn't say anything. And then we went to go and I said, I have to do this. So I chased after the lady and I said, listen, I really want you. I went to put the $50 to shove it in a bag because I knew she'd have difficulty accepting because people do. Yet I've learned over the years when someone offers you a gift, you can't be denying them the joy and the blessing coming through for you in receiving. This is a very big one.
That's
a lot
good.
of us, we find it hard to receive. So I went to put it in and she pulled back in like horror, absolute horror. I persisted with this. That was a very surreal moment. I was there, but I wasn't there for that brief moment while this scenario played out. So she was walking backwards gently and I wasn't doing it in a stalking way either. It was very gentle and loving saying, no, I can't. You need it more than me. I said, actually, I'm okay. I don't need it more than you. And she kept walking. No, I just simply can't. And then just before we left, I turned around one more time. She turned around. I said, I just want to let you know that this was a blessing and a gift for me. And I wanted to give this to you. So your angels are letting you know, please allow yourself to receive a gift and a blessing from above. And I just walked off. It was, and then I walked out of this bubble of energy. It was a very surreal moment that I was called on. I knew it was big for that situation. And all I will say is later on, a massive abundance flow came in the physical for me. It arrived in financial monetary terms. I knew it was because I pushed through. It was really like the 3D energy. It was like the movies, but I keep this very grounded. It was like the movies. It was like I walked through this bubble into her world and I had that exchange and I walked out and I got in the car with Michael and I went, what the fuck? That was very different. That was quite amazing. That was massive. As a human template for humanity and what I bring through, I knew that was a very shattering moment. So, Maddie, as I'm telling you that story, what's coming? I can see you're grinning and what came for you, me telling you that story?
Oh, just, I work in the city and used to see homeless people on the sidewalk all the time years ago when I took the commuter train they had. I drive now, so I don't see them as often, but they always used to congregate around the train stations and stuff. And I made some good friends over the years, people you'd see every so often that would be there. And I'd help them out once in a while if I had some extra money. Some people frown on that, and I wouldn't do it every day, just depended on the situation.
I've done that before in the city before with 2 street people, homeless people that I sat down and chatted with and then blah, blah, blah. So that's part of living in service as well. Some of they were the most honest, raw and real people compared.
Oh,
yeah, you can relate to that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. There was one guy, I remember one lady was, I had just missed the altercation, but apparently one lady had really given it to him because he was standing there. He had crutches because he had hurt himself. He was out of work because of his injury, and he had to bring his 5 or 6 year old son with him. And he was sitting on the sidewalk next to him doing homework. And so the lady didn't like that idea. But he's like, what do you want me to do? I don't have any work. I think he
My
was a
heart breaks.
contractor.
I think that was a really, I actually look at the bloody fucking warped view that woman saw that. What an amazing thing. I see that as a whole different, he's got his son sitting there doing the homework. Hello.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
People saying that your energy, I'm just going to read some comments. Sorry, were you going to say something, darling?
No,
Maddie?
no, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Chris, did you want to share something? There's some amazing comments. Is there something in particular you want to share with that, Chris?
You could go with the comments and I can go after.
Great. Kylie says, this is an incredible place to be today. So much being shared. Amazing. And you're part of that too, because today, all of you here commenting are new earth pioneers. You're all masters learning to grow into your human embodiment. And then in this energy space is grandmaster energy. So as you're growing into your mastership, you're also coming into grandmastering energies as well. There is nothing like this on the planet. This is amazing. The percentage of us in this energy space is less than 5%. 5% is the more awakened, but us here, I'd say we're much less than that. So the fact that you're here is a miracle. So Corey wrote, wow, different circumstance, but relate to that experience for you. Johnny says, it's so calming listening to Maddie, because Natalie said, I love Maddie's gentleness. With that healing, people wrote they felt that release out of their bones, and the release was huge. Okay. Everyone relating to feeling very different. So energy is releasing right now. So there's just a big shift of a rainbow column of energies, really soft pastel energies, and you can see little silver stars sparkling. It's like a little shower of light colored rainbow energies. We just need to cleanse the energy space. So Maddie, we were talking recently, and you mentioned to me that your imagination, you were told not to use your imagination. Is it okay for me to mention this here? You go, yeah, if
Sure.
you say, just leave it. Yeah.
No,
I
that's
found that
fine.
very interesting, because our imagination, while we're grounded, it's important. I put a disclaimer in here that I say that we need to be real and very fucking grounded with our spirituality, linking our soul with our spirit in our imagination, because I've worked with a few people in psych wards, and their delusions and what they were being drugged for or receiving medication to help them to feel that they were needed, and some people do need certain things. I'm not going into that energy. I'm just going to say that many people in the psych wards that were in there, that when they told me they were seeing all these spiritual energies, they weren't grounded and they couldn't find anyone they related with. So after time with one in particular, I grounded those energies in, and that person got out of the psych ward and ended up and now has 2-3 jobs and is just a bit normal. What is normal? No such thing. But because there was a mirror to show them that imagination, if you ground that into realness, not into fantasy, because a lot of people are detached and go into fantasy, and that's where they get a bit lost. They're like a kite with no tether, is what I say to many people. Ground in. And to ground in, you've got to want to be here. You need to feel.
Mhm.
The clincher is to feel.
Right.
I don't know where I was going with this now, Maddie, because I was working on these energies. I'm working with, what was I asking you? Was I going to ask you something? That's what another thing happens when you're in the moment. It's like poof, out it goes. So can you remember what we were talking about then, guys?
Yeah, it was about the third eye being closed.
Imagination. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. So with the imagination, so you shared with me that, please share a bit more about that. That was fascinating, because I'm getting to wind up. And when I say wind up, probably 10 minutes, right?
Okay.
So I'm just getting us with Maddie's going, I just got on here. We just got started, Stacey. You look a bit disappointed then.
It's getting fun.
I know.
Oh, well, sometimes it can go for 15 minutes when I say we're winding up, but what it is, we're in an infinite space and we don't ever want to get off. I know we don't. And it's then bringing that into the human conscious linear time is what we're learning to do with our energies. So that's why I'm saying that. So Maddie, about the imagination, please. That's really important. This is really big.
Yeah, well, they had, there were certain barriers to the imagination, but in general, sometimes like when I was growing up, some of the teachers in the private school I was at, they were very strict, and I don't think they could get away with most of those things today. That was quite a few years back, but as it happened, yeah, they used to really crack down on, as a matter of fact, I think I remember there were some kids in my class, because I had attempted to try to even write with my left hand, and they said, no, you can't do that. You have to write with your right hand.
Those days, the
You know?
khaki hand and
Yeah,
smack.
they slapped
Happened to
you,
Michael as well, you Virgos, you poor Virgos.
yeah,
Wow.
Goodness
yeah.
me. Yeah.
yeah. And but yeah, so that was a hard experience, because
Yeah.
I did have an artistic side, and it kind of sort of went
Blocked it?
away.
It
for
blocked
a
it.
while. Yeah, it did. It really did,
Okay,
because I used to
let's
draw a
just
lot.
pause for a moment, and we're going to see any blocks in the shoulders and the arms with everybody right now. With Matthew talking, we're going to see energy release, and we're going to release any blocks, any creative energy blocks, and see green flowing through our arms. What are you feeling, Maddie, as I'm talking, you grinning? What are you feeling?
No, it just feels good. Feels comforting. Yeah.
Yeah. So the green is coming off your arms and releasing.
Thank you.
Releasing the old trauma. And I'm just doing some EFT, some tapping in the energy space right now to release that trauma, because I know that affected Michael as well. He was amazing, softly spoken, beautiful soul. That was a trauma.
Mhm. Exactly. Because then it
And we're
also
just
forces you to kind of move inward, and keep to yourself even more so.
see how moving the energy out when you said moving inward? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just expanding that energy out from that trauma, releasing that. Allow your template to free this in spirit and soul. There's joy and tears I can feel in the energy space. Is that from you, Maddie, or someone watching? I can feel joy and tears coming.
I don't know.
It's okay.
I feel the
And
joy.
you feel a joy? Good, because I want
Yeah.
you to see one big white dragon inside of you. Right now, visualize the template inside of a white dragon. Everybody? Someone said, holy moly, such a huge release. Oh, so needed this. Wowzer, joy right there. So calming and gentle, listening to Matthew, slowing down, appreciating you all. Thank you. Are you visualizing a soft, faint template of a white dragon? Can you see that, Maddie?
Yeah.
Inside?
Yeah.
Chris?
Yep.
Looks like a white seahorse almost.
Whatever it is, that's enough. And Corey said, very much relate to artistic energy block from school. Felt deeply sad at that. I was described as too feminine and not adventurous enough. Tanya said, I feel in such a middle of deep sadness, grief, and joy. Beautiful. So that white dragon template has come in with everybody that's come in today. That is in your template energy space. Just feel and allow that without questioning. What, why, where, what's going on? What is it? What is it? What's going on? What does the white dragon mean? Out of the mind, out of the head, and just sit with that energy. And that's enough. That's the gift and the healing of the blessing today. We had to bring that white dragon through.
Thank you.
Now take your time, Maddie. Is there anything you'd like to share, else you'd like to share about? I'll go and get my dragon cards. Living in divine service 24/7.
Yeah, this came up in my thoughts here, or in my feeling, probably about 10 or 15 minutes ago. And that was just, if I could give anybody any advice, it would be to just follow your heart in any situation in life. And if you hear something and you feel something, just trust it.
Wow. Back to basics. Step one, back to a new beginning, a new 0 point energetically. I wrote in my update for myself privately. I don't share everything as much anymore. Was that, Maddie? This is a new 0 point over and over and over and over. And it's, share that again, please, Maddie.
Just that if you feel a prompting or something from your heart, as far as you have a decision to make, a crossroads in life, a new job, a new career, another house, a move to another town, anything like that. If you get the inkling, just pursue it. At least just look into it, see where it may lead.
Oh,
Might
yeah,
be a good
feeling.
change for you.
Mm-hmm. Chris?
Yeah, that totally resonates, because really I feel that ties into living in divine service 24/7. Is simply just tuning into your heart and feeling into each moment, situation, and being consciously aware. And just by being you, your energy has an impact and an effect, and you can really benefit somebody greatly just by a simple act. And that's all it takes. So yeah, totally.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We're living in a new divine flow, and we could do many chapters to living in divine service 24/7, because there's a lot to it. And And it does start by feeling, because if you're not feeling, you're missing the blessings and the giftings and living in the flow.
Mhm.
And be brave and trust yourself to feel, masters. There's a lot that, as Maddie said, it's easy to go to the head. It's being more spiritually mindful, consciously. The consciousness is linked with the feeling as well. That's
Mhm.
really important as well. And it's interesting, the white dragon. So that's releasing. You feel energy's releasing. And the Omega Dragon energy is coming through, which is harnesses the divine feminine power of creation. Intention, hold your vision, birth the higher consciousness. Again, what do we say? Can't make that up. Can't make that up. And we're currently in the moment birthing. Let me read from my energy notes now. What's releasing is underneath our feet is our Earth star, above us is our soul star. I just see a ball above and below, an energy gently shifting between each of those to allow yourself a planetary upgrade, healing, illuminating. It's an initiation energy, bringing back in harmony and cooperation, purging the blackness of the old ancient energies that are flowing through Gate 13 at Moscow, everybody. There is a higher reason. We have been called here for a reason to be here at this time. We are in a higher universal conscious upgrade. I feel wonderful. For me, it's morning to come on tonight. Chris, you felt really good. Maddie, how were you feeling before you came in?
Feeling good. Feeling real good. Feeling much better now too. With all the energy changes. Yeah. Feels great.
We are in the mystical union of the spiritual and the physical. And living in divine service 24/7 means feeling in the physical.
Mhm.
I'm getting to finish off today in reading and bringing through the healing of the Omega Dragon. Gentlemen, thank you, my fellow masters, brothers, beautiful, beautiful souls that I'm so blessed to know you both and to have a connection with you both, with everything that we're going on in the background in our lives, of everything we're each going through, to be able to come here in this new platform of this conscious collective, unity is community, this new community energy that others can join. Thanks for coming on today.
Well, thank you for having us. This is great. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Matthew. It's been an honor and such a beautiful sharing, man. I really appreciate you coming on, and just thank you for being here and shining your light, man, because yeah, you're an amazing, amazing soul.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise. Likewise. Thanks very much.
Okay, everybody, thank you as well. So we're going to now, there's a whole heap of energies coming through the chakras. Can you feel anything happening, Chris? Something's happening at the moment. Can you feel that, Maddie? Yeah, there's a big release coming out of all the chakra energy centers. And that's really because we need to go now, guys, is what that means. And it means, I know we don't want to. I can feel that. And I can feel people want to stay on. We can go for a few hours here quite easily. However, we need to bring things, our energy in, to come back in 2 weeks. And that's bringing that generosity back in for ourselves to nourish and nurture ourselves, and not want to do everything all in one go, is what that energy means. Okay, so the Omega Dragon, the 9th dimensional Omega Dragons, and so everybody, in 2 more weeks, let me share, in 2 more weeks, it will be Corrie, our beautiful Corrie will be coming on next. Talking about taking a leap, following your intuition to move forward. So I look forward to Corrie. I will be sharing about that. So there's a beautiful Omega Dragon again. 9th dimensional Omega Dragons carry the divine feminine vibrations of Shekinah, the universal energy that created our world. And we are in a universal higher consciousness upgrade right now, everybody. Maddie, I can feel energy flowing up your head, your third eye, your crown, your up here is sparkling. What are you feeling, Maddie, as this is coming through?
Yeah, I resonate with that. It's that's exactly what I'm feeling right now. Yeah.
Chris, what are you feeling, darling?
Mine's up to the core, and then yeah, I'm feeling that as well. Yep.
Beautiful. It's a counterpart of Archangel Metatron's higher light and represents pure creative vision. Hello. There's that creative upgrade, that release. These powerful beings are assisting the birth of higher consciousness on Earth. Collectively, they hold the vision for the new golden age, and this will enable us to achieve the intentions set by Lady Gaia for the evolution of the planet. These beautiful silver white dragons will also help us hold a personal vision for the highest good. Every wish starts with a thought that is translated into a picture. That's the imagination. These dragons can see into our mind and will hold our vision with us. Well, you have this dragon within you right now. So when an Omega dragon comes to you, this is upgrading your template, everybody. It is time to give birth to a special new project, pathway, or aspect of yourself that has remained hidden. A lot is being released, as I said. It's all linked up, that we're coming from being hidden, from behind the scenes here with us three coming here today. Matthew, you're just glowing gold now. What's happening for you? Whew.
It just
Anything
feels
you want to share?
really good. This energy, you know, it's like you said about, you think I have a special energy. Yours is even more.
It's all the divine, living in divine service, 24/7 flowing.
That's right.
Thank you, darling. So call upon these dragons to fill you with the power of the divine feminine. This will enable you to hold your vision and bring it to fruition in a wise, balanced, and harmonious way. 444, repeating fours is the number for the last couple of days, holding the space, saying we're going through an illumination and an initiation period. Remember to pray and call on your angels and guides for help. I needed to reread that myself, because we can be doing so much living in divine service 24/7 that we need to take a moment within ourselves to ask, help me to see clearer with this situation, with this person. It is a calling back to the birthing of creation energies, and ask the Omega Dragon to look into the greatest desire of your soul and hold the vision of bringing it to manifestation. And I ask you to hold the golden sun within your solar plexus, and you're coming home to yourself firstly for you. Still your mind, give them permission to merge with your energy. Ask them to soften your path and the paths of all who hold the vision of the new golden age. Soften, soften, soften. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My vision this morning when I went on my walk on the waterfront, as we're closing up, is my whole entire space. What did I let you know, Chris? What did I see in my space this morning?
Maybe white dragons.
Filled with baby white dragons. Filled as the mother of the dragon energies for humanity, birthing the divine feminine power of creation through our energy templates right now. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This will be shared on my Facebook page, on Anastasia Blue Beyond Guide YouTube as well. And I will leave us with the beautiful white lily, just the flower of peace. And that is the vision. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm going to go. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, boys. Thank you, brothers. So much love to everybody. I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody?